pretty lively discussion. We talked maybe for what 45 minutes about busing alone. So in one of them, so yeah, it was a lot of student input. It was great. There was one concern that I did have that came up in the academic committee meeting, because I know, as many of you have stated before, to me and to others, and other students have stated to us, that UD is beginning to feel more and more crowded. And a lot of the administration does not want to accept that fact. They quoted a couple of kind of phony statistics. They're correct in that like 65% of buses are only utilized every day, 65%. But that includes nighttime. That includes between 12 p.m. and 6 a.m. So after looking into it a bit, between classes, it operates more at 110, 120% capacity. So I would love to get maybe a team of 2 or 3 people who are very data analytics excited people. If that's none of you, that's fair. But yeah, so to kind of just make sure that we can have a full view of the data behind student experience in context. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out to me. The university is still looking, or not looking for, but the search for the VP of Student Life is still ongoing. I honestly have no idea when that will end. I keep saying hopefully soon. Alex keeps, every week he walks in. So any updates? Nope. So, but in the near future, there should be a choice coming out. I've also spoken to Fatima, who is the interim Title IX coordinator. They are currently in a search for a permanent Title IX coordinator. And I know with a lot of people, kind of the sexual assault agenda, once we're going to kind of move forward on that, once there's actually a coordinator in the position, because as of right now, just too much going on. And then I also went to Parking Services holds an executive committee once a semester, just to talk about the state of affairs of busing, parking. Some of the main concerns that came up, or some of the good things that came up, are that they're adding 6 more buses, 4 this semester, 2 next semester, which will definitely help out with kind of the regularity of busing routes and busing timing. Sorry, it's been a long day. And so there's that. I know some people have mentioned Zipcar around campus, and it kind of just disappeared overnight. There is a system that Enterprise runs that basically is the equivalent of Zipcar, which even if it's the age of 18 and up, you can rent the car. And the university bid out, and Enterprise won. So those will be showing up in the same exact spots fairly soon. So we will see about that. Let's see what else. I know a lot of people have kind of discussed crosswalks in here. One major discussion that came up was having a crosswalk at the railroad tracks by the Little Bob, kind of going between the Little Bob and McDowell, because there really is no good place for you to cross the street unless you go all the way to one of the 2 ends. So that is that committee. I also wanted to talk to you guys from more of a personal note about this week's edition of the review. I know it's kind of, especially starting with the cabinet last year, it's been an ongoing discussion of kind of SGA doing something in the review terms of and so Natalie and I decided last week to publish our own opinion piece kind of going after one individual at the review, the editor-in-chief. And in this week's, he decided to kind of claw back and defend the paper in its entirety. I just wanted to talk to, on the record, to the fact that I have always held in high esteem everyone in the cabinet, everyone in the past cabinet has held in high esteem the writing within the actual news section, within the editorial section, basically anything that Caleb Owens hasn't touched. And I hate to use his name because we tried to keep it kind of anonymous by names in our opinion piece, and then he decided to call us out this week, so I figured I'd discuss that. I just wanted to let you all know that I know some of the great work that you guys are doing. I know that you guys aren't puppets of the administration. I know that I'm not a puppet of the administration. It's ridiculous that I have to say that, but those are the circumstances. And especially someone like John Cohill, who really in a span of maybe 3 weeks, I want to say, was able to get some major traction on the issue of how the university handles student debt, which is a proposal that'll be coming up tonight. Yeah, so especially to kind of the leaders in the room who are looking to elevate to higher positions, there are going to be people who doubt you at every step of the way. And sometimes they'll make very personal attacks. Sometimes you'll make a very concerted effort from the heart to do the best for UD, and they will just swipe at you. Just know that you are better than that, and that even if some people don't want to admit, just because they have a vendetta against SGA or the system in general, just keep doing what you're doing, keep being incredible leaders. And SGA is my baby, I love it. So I love all you guys. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin, for that. We love you too. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Shannon and Megan with an update about Newark City Council.
Yeah, it's just Megan.
Okay, just Megan, you can come on up. Not to put the pressure on you.
Yeah, it's not too long. They've just been discussing the budget, which I don't think everyone really wants to hear about all that much.
But can you, sorry.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
If anyone has any questions, I know they're raising the property tax, and some things like that. That's mostly, we've been through the budget process in the last 4 meetings. So any specific questions, especially if people they themselves or know people who live off campus, so questions about the sewer rate and some of the things that are going on, that's been primarily what's been discussed in the meetings recently. There's also some things about regulations on the sidewalks of Main Street. I don't think there's gonna be any big changes. People are just kind of making a fuss about it. The other thing that I'm doing outside of City Council, which is pretty interesting, is they're sunsetting the Downtown Newark Partnership. Not everyone's ever heard of it. And doing a Newark Futures Partnership. You guys might be familiar with the Newark Futures workshops. But if anyone's interested in getting involved in a new organization in Newark that brings together nonprofits, businesses, and educational systems to kind of like make the community better. I'm the only student on the organizing committee right now, and I'm only in one working group because I can't be in all the working groups. So if anyone's really interested in community, especially in the area of business, maybe wants to get involved in that, let me know. I can connect you with the proper people. And if any of you guys ever have any questions, come and ask, because a lot of things are discussed at this meetings, and you guys probably don't want to hear about all of them. But if you have a specific thing that comes up, definitely reach out. Shannon and I hear a lot about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. And these meetings are open to public, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
They're
So,
just like 4 hours long.
all right, so if you're interested, definitely reach out to Megan. Sounds like a pretty interesting opportunity. Next, we are going to hear from our last person. No, sorry, one more. So we are going to hear from Nick Matthews, Faculty Senate Senator.
This is also going to be a short one. Next Senate will probably be a little bit longer. So first off, we started with a briefing from Provost Morgan, who talked a little bit about some scholarships that have been given, specifically the Unidel Scholarship, how it's going towards grad student studies. She also mentioned Corinne and I's ongoing problem with people offering their exams worth more than 25% of their grade in the last week of classes before finals, which at times is a breach of university policy. And Provost Morgan told them that they would be sending out an email reminder at the end of November to all the department chairs as well as faculty members, telling them that this is a policy and it cannot be done. So hopefully that actually works. They're also looking at ways, and when we talked about it a little bit after the meeting, specifically about the opportunity to reschedule if it doesn't work with you, if you have more than 3 exams, the ability to reschedule your finals. Resolutions, there was basically nothing of prominence or anything to be mentioned. However, new business things were added, evaluating faculty members and how that process will go, as well as the creation of the bylaws for the graduate college. So for those of you guys that do not know, that is something that we're working on, and we'll see how that goes. Another announcement for committee members: you should be added to the email list for your specific people and for your specific committees. If you guys have not been getting emails and you know you're on a committee, please let me know. I know, for example, some are happening pretty soon. All right, so that's pretty much all I got. Any questions? Awesome, thanks guys.
Yeah, so faculty senate, I think, lasted a total of 25 minutes this
Something
week,
like that, yeah.
which was really great, but I think me and Nick are both expecting next Tony, Kathleen Kerr, and a few other faculty and student faculty members of the student centers. It was really cool, saw a lot of cool spaces, and so we just wanted to give you an update and maybe show you some pictures. Brendan's gonna come up here and talk a little bit about it, but essentially we're just kind of traveling around and getting ideas and seeing what works and what doesn't work in other schools for the possibility of either renovating or building a new student center.
Well, I guess that's me. Yeah, so basically we had the awesome opportunity to not only travel to far uncharted territory of the Midwest, but we also got to bond a little bit with Tony. So that was great. So basically some of the things that we saw at other student centers were they just had more spaces to basically interact with one another as a community. We feel like things that, like at Perkins, it's a little bit outdated. I wouldn't say dirty. I mean, we saw a few universities that were definitely like better than, I would say. But in all, it was a great trip, and we definitely learned a lot. There was one in particular that I liked, and it was University of Kentucky. And I'm sure Mark can back me up on that too a little bit. But they just had like state-of-the-art everything. So I don't know what the direction is with like how we want to take it like with the school, but that was probably my favorite. Mark, do you want to speak a little bit about like what your favorite place was?
Yes, my school was probably Ohio State University, just because I'm a people watcher. That's part of my head, but I watch people, and they just seem to be more in tune with the school, have more spirit. And like on the walls, there was like a lot of history about the school. I think that's something people hear because we are kind of historic in the state of Delaware. Yeah, it's pretty much.
Absolutely. And another thing that we found interesting, and you see it at Ohio State and Kentucky more than the other schools, is the branding factor. That's something that I really like. I feel like our school spirit at UD is kind of like not the greatest, and I feel like just being able to walk around and identify yourself with your university, as you can see like on the pillars, there's the Ohio State O everywhere on the fireplace and their like main hallway in the union. So really, I think more than anything, an easy thing that we could tell faculty is that we just want to see more branding, just have the university logo in as many places as possible. But other than that, that's pretty much it. It was a great trip.
Can you talk about the Senate, the SGA with their Senate chambers?
Oh yeah, so it was crazy. So they had like, oh yeah, this is it. Yeah, so basically each one of you guys would have like your own microphone right in front of you. And this isn't just like a microphone, it as voting options, so it operates kind of like how our clickers operate. So a poll would go up here where the executive board would be sitting, and we would have the option to, vote however we want on certain bills instead of raising the placard. This is University of Kentucky, by the way, and yeah, Ohio State's was a little bit different. It was more like,
Lecture style.
yeah, I would say it was actually pretty similar to Gore, but they also had the built-in microphones. I really think that's a great feature because, you want to make sure everybody's voice is heard, both figuratively and literally. So that was a pretty cool place also. Other than that, if you guys have any ideas or any complaints or any thoughts or anything that you want to see in a new student center, feel free to either reach out to myself, Kevin, or anybody else on the exec board. I also have one more thing I want to talk about. So there is another RSO on campus called the Climate Reality Project. And basically, we're just looking to get as many signatures as we can to try and put a little bit of pressure on the university to show them, our student body really does care about the environment. And so what the goal of this RSO is to be 100% renewable, have 100% renewable electricity by 2030. The university's current game plan was to be 20% renewable by 2020, and seeing as 2019 is right around the corner and we're nowhere near that, we definitely need to put the pedal to the metal per se. So if anybody is interested, please feel free to fill this out. It'll just be like tagged in on the email chain, and it would be really cool if you help us out with that. But thank you so much for listening. Yes. Yes.
So back during the Parker administration, so the president before, President Masanis, I think it's Delaware Shines was their initiative, and part of it was kind of making the university far more sustainable. With the changing of presidents, there's not been a lot of focus on renewable research as well as just kind of campus sustainability. So this would be a great way to kind of show the school that, hey, listen.
And we started this last month, and so far, just from just posting up basically to Turbot and hassling people, we've gotten over 1,500 signatures. So it's pretty good numbers over a short amount of time. So like I said, if you guys would, I would really appreciate your help on that. Yes, Ron.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are there like statistics on like how renewable we are? Like, do they have like reports and stuff?
Yes, all that information, I don't want to say we, because I can definitely ask SGA first, but all that information is on their social medias, and I believe they have a website coming up too, so I can give you that information afterwards.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
And just a disclaimer, you don't have to sign this.
No, yeah, not at all, but
This petition, we just always pass it around if you're interested. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our proposals tonight. We have two. I just wanted to remind everyone of the voting procedures. So I will give the floor to the first sponsor of the bill, and then he will read it, explain it, he or she, sorry. And then if people have questions, there has to be a motion to discuss and then a second motion. After the discussion is over, there needs to be a motion to vote and a second motion required. We will vote using our placards. Okay, so the first proposal is sponsored by John. John, can you come on up? I just have you speak into the mic too.
Our proposal is for just a change in how the university responds to a death within our Blue Hen community. Over this past 3 weeks, we actually had a freshman death within our community, and it was not known by other students, and other students seemed really affected by it, and it showed a disconnect between the students and the administration on situations like, just like lack of empathy we saw in students and teachers not knowing how to handle the situation. So I'm going to read it now. Student Death Notification and Assistance Act. Whereas the university does not have an official protocol and timeline for notifying students about the passing of a fellow student. And whereas students are often unaware of the resources provided by the university during times of heightened grief and mental distress. And whereas the discontinuity in university response often leads to students' resentment over a perceived lack of commitment to students' mental well-being. And whereas in-class assistance from counseling professionals to inform and discuss campus resources is currently offered, but at the discretion of faculty members. And whereas all matters pertaining to faculty regulations are subject to faculty senate approval as stipulated equal bargaining clause within university employment contracts. Therefore, be it resolved that the Student Government Association will introduce a bill as new business at the December faculty senate meeting, requiring all course professors for which a student was enrolled be mandated to have counseling professionals present the class period immediately following the university's notification of death, subject to the wishes of the family, and be it further resolved that the entire student body be notified by the president's office within 1 week of the student's passing, subject to the wishes of the family.
John, does anyone have any questions? Is there a motion to discuss? Second.
For the counselor, for the principal counselor services, is it every single, is it gonna be like the first class? I feel like just there was hundreds of classes.
So it would be for the specific classes students would take. So a faculty member, a professional within the counseling field will walk the student's schedule
Okay.
immediately following the notification by the university.
Oh, okay.
Is there a motion to vote? Second. All those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Okay, in the opinion of the speaker, this motion is passed. We have one more proposal tonight. This, who, I don't know who's that.
Shane.
Shane, okay, sure, so you can come on.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to read through this and then put it into layman's terms for you guys. So, whereas students currently have difficulty properly assessing the academic commitment for upcoming course at the time of registration, and whereas many of the University of Delaware's comparators provide students with access to past course syllabi at the time of registration, and whereas all matters pertaining to faculty regulation are subject to faculty senate approval as stipulated equal bargaining clause within university employment contracts, therefore be it resolved that the Student Government Association calls for the implementation of syllabus database available to all students through the university's central advising system, and be it further resolved that the Student Government Association will introduce a bill requiring faculty participation in said database as new business for the December faculty senate meeting. So the idea behind this proposal is that we are going to basically establish a database where all professors will be required to submit their most recent syllabus for each class, so that when students are registering for classes, they're able to see kind of like what the workload is, what they'd be getting themselves into, so that students that are signing up for 18 credits a semester aren't signing up for a class that, or 6 classes that have like major research components or something like that. Basically allowing students to kind of foresee what their semester would be like while they're registering, and so that they don't have to then go back and drop that and drop a class and kind of mess around with their schedule. They'll have a better idea heading into the semester what their schedule is going to look like.
Anyone have any questions? Is there a motion to discuss? Second. Yes.
So do you think this is like, I don't know, I mean, obviously we're gonna bring it up back in the Senate, but like one thing we might heard is how it's gonna affect drop out. Like, if we can all see our syllabi beforehand, like, we're gonna be like, oh, you don't need drop ad there, oh, drop ad will only be the first week, like, is that, how is that? Like, because I think we should still have the 2 week free drop ad.
Yeah, so I mean, this wouldn't affect how drop ad is run. It's just,
You don't think it would have any effect on it?
oh, I think it certainly would. I think there would be far less students
So because
utilizing the drop ad
So
period.
because of that, do you think they would change it?
That, no,
That did not come up in that discussion.
Okay.
no. Drop ad is still there because you might see what a class is about, but you also sometimes get into a class
And it's.
and you realize it's totally different from what you expected, or at that point you realize I can't do this
Yeah.
semester. So this wouldn't change anything about the drop ad period.
Yeah, Westlake's so are they posting their old syllabi?
No, it would be the most recent syllabi for each class.
Is there any other requirement somewhere? That's the bill, I mean, faculty senate, the way that the way that the bill is gonna go to them, it would be that this is a requirement coming from the provost's office. And to your first question, I forgot it, sorry.
Jacob?
How will new classes be handled, like,
So it's not quite clear as of right now what they're going to do with a lot of the syllabi. What they're what we were speaking with Vice Provost Lena Okagaki. The discussion was sometimes the syllabus won't be the most recent, so it's not like next year it'll be all 2018, but like if a professor basically keeps the same exact syllabus from 2012 on, as long as it kind of stays within the realm of what they're going to teach, but it is under their discretion to change the syllabus.
So like, if the class is never just on, they don't have like a.
Yeah, so in that situation, there obviously just wouldn't be any syllabi provided. That would be left up to the student to read the course description, and maybe contact the professor if they want more details on that. But I don't have the numbers on how many new classes are offered each semester. I don't think it's really that big of a number, but we do not have any way of going about that.
I could be wrong, but I believe if a professor wants to teach a new course, they usually have to submit a syllabus in kind of to either the department or whomever. So hopefully that would be available through the advising website.
Have you guys gotten any feedback from professors about it? I'm
So
just nervous as to what they're gonna say. I feel like a lot of professors might be happy about it.
yes, so in speaking with Professor Okagaki, she said, because she spoke with whatever the provost office executive committee, which includes a lot of professors and department chairs. Her suggestion was not making the database mandatory, making it optional for professors to, I did the same thing. For them to opt in because, and we went forward with mandatory just because we want something half-baked. But I mean, it's definitely going to be something highly contested, but that's just, Corinne and Nick, sorry about your December.
I mean, it's a great idea. I don't see why they would pull back, but to make it mandatory might kind of make it mad, but it'll work.
Okay, we'll go Nick, then Ryan, and then Nick. I'll go first.
Do we have any data or statistics about backing demand from the student population for this, or is this an idea that a couple people thought
No, we don't currently have any, there's no survey that's been put out. This is just kind of an idea that I came to.
of? Great. May I request surveys? Otherwise, I'm going to get destroyed if faculty senate.
You got it.
I do have some data on other universities that already have the similar systems, so I can get you that as well. I can be standing in the room if you want, so you can, if you wanna,
No,
if
I'm
you wanna
just-
be like, no, attack Kevin,
I'm
murder
just-
him.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried that this could potentially be the first proposal the student government's ever brought to the faculty senate, and it could be another failure if it's not backed by the student population. Just saying other universities have this is a lot different than saying the university students of the University of Delaware want this. If that doesn't exist, I wouldn't feel comfortable bringing this to the full faculty senate, personally.
No, I agree. Completely.
Ryan?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I can put like a survey up on the website as well, help you out, and then also like kind of like a nice medium ground could be like maybe just have like one professor, at least like one professor per course has to like put up their syllabus because I figure they're pretty similar. So it's maybe just like if you know you have an issue coming to a complete agreement, just see like an option that at least one professor has to.
Yeah, that also came up in discussion, and Dr. Okigaki kind of suggested that even though there are courses where it's multiple professors and they don't always teach the same syllabus, that it would only be required to have one syllabus for that course, just because of simplicity in the system. And I think she knows the difficulties that Gianna brought up of the faculty not wanting to give in on this. So.
Could this be rolled into the current UD course search function, or is this going to be an entirely separate database or an entirely separate link?
So the university is currently segueing into more centralized advising database, and especially utilizing the Blue Hen Success Collaborative, which is basically everyone in arts and sciences, which is most everyone in the room, has no idea what it is, but most of the other students in other colleges do know. And it's kind of just a way for students to access more resources, so that they don't have to solely depend on Visor. They kind of can search out and find those resources on their own. And the reason for putting it there and not on the course search is because a lot of professors wouldn't be comfortable having their syllabi public to the world. And so through the EHSC site, you would have to log in order to access the syllabi.
Do you have any more questions? Okay, do we have a motion to vote? Second. Okay. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? All abstaining? Sorry. So since this isn't a change to the Constitution, it's just a proposal, we're going by majority vote. So in the opinion of the speaker, this proposal is passed. But of course, Nick and I will have the pleasure of bringing this into faculty senate, and we'd be more than happy to work with Kevin and Shane to kind of get the data and I guess just resources we need before presenting it in front of 80 plus professors who would very much not like this. So if anyone else is interested in helping survey and kind of get some data and background before December, that would be appreciated. Okay. So that is all we have for proposals or legislation. Now just a few announcements. Nick kind of touched on this earlier, but those of you that were chosen to be on a faculty senate committee should have been added to the mailing list by now, and you should know when your next committee meeting is. I believe undergraduate studies meets tomorrow, so hopefully everyone on that committee can make it. Please try to make it to these meetings. It's very important that you show up and participate and represent SGA well. This is a really great opportunity that they give us every year to give our input and make some changes on campus. So if you cannot go to your committee meetings, please let us know. And we will email you. You can either email your head committee chair, or we will for you, but it's just important that someone knows you're not going. So I think Kevin talked about this, but we're going to kind of do some more research about the bus routes and how effective they are. So we are thinking about maybe doing like a ride along on the routes and see which are effective and which are not. If anyone is interested in helping us out with this, please talk to Nick. Or if you're from another branch, just talk to either Gianna or Brennan and they will hook you up. This could be a really good proposal in the making. And then of course we have our November monthly, not October. And that is next Wednesday from 5:30 to about 6:30. And that is going to be a resume LinkedIn workshop with Rachel Coppola from Career Services. She is the person that is the contact for like government relations, nonprofit, public policy, related career things. So bring your resumes. It'll be right here in this room. Dress is still business professional because I want to look presentable. And this could be a really beneficial resource for you. So I definitely recommend that you update your resumes so that you can really work on them next week. Okay, and so just to wrap things up, as you know, every month we have a recognition bucket for someone who's doing exceptionally well in student government and really putting themselves out there. So this month it is John. Give it up for John. He definitely had to deal with a tough situation in one of your classes, right? And so turning that into like a positive thing is really nice to see. So thank you, John, for all your hard work. And now I will turn it over to you guys. Does anyone have any questions, new business to add, or just kind of thoughts, Mark?
So on Monday night, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity hosted a discussion on mental health. And they had Anna Solis give a presentation. She's a part of the National Alliance on Mental Health. And a lot of students who were there felt that the conversations about mental health aren't being said enough on campus. And so I would like for her to, if she can, to present to us, to give a lecture to help us kind of start the conversation. And so what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, that sounds great. I don't know if anyone else is interested in that, but Mark, you can just talk to Kevin and I after, and we can hopefully set that up for next semester.
I just had a question generally about like SJ and how we respond to things that happen on campus.
Okay.
Like recently there was like signs that said like it's okay to be white, but we're like Mr. Constant campus, and there are a couple of things that happened here, and I just wondered if that was something that SJ should like put like a public response to.
Right.
Yes, so I can take the hit on this one. I'm very social media weary, or not weary, but I usually kind of shy away from it, but it kind of did come to my attention this week, or last week especially, how it's important to kind of, even though I think we all know that these are disgusting acts and they shouldn't be done, making sure that we're vocalizing that would be more helpful. So yeah, it'll definitely be emphasized and publicized a lot more.
And since you are a PR senator, I don't know if you reached out to Brennan about that, but you can always talk to your branch and then formulate your own response, because that is part of the external branch's job. So that, of course, being approved by
Yes.
cabinet.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Moving on, does anyone else have anything to add before we wrap it up? Okay, well then, in the opinion of the speaker, this meeting is adjourned.
Oh, thank you.
Having, I wouldn't make it like an in-depth video, but definitely to have something. I wouldn't put any words to it. Yeah, so have something that we can play in the background and show some
Like, there's so many classes that like, they
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just frustrating because there's some like available spaces like that second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the aisle. Killing it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I marked it out. I marked it out. Wait.
Oh, man. You sound tired. I am, bro. I'm exhausted. Gosh.